We have ourselves a second helping of Greg Cody.
Oh, too much.
What do you mean too much?
It's just more than people
never
can stand.
enough.
Okay.
Who needs him?
Who needs me?
I need him.
Okay. I'm here for you.
I need as much as I can get. I mean, the NBA Finals tip off tonight. LeBron will not allow the NBA Finals to tip off without making himself the biggest story, bigger than the NBA Finals, as it is reported by Woj that the Lakers are preparing a massive offer for Dan Hurley, the head coach at UConn. This is great. This is LeBron at his absolute best, Greg.
It's perfect.
Now, there's no one around here that's less knowledgeable when it comes to journalism than me, but it seems like all these journalists nowadays are reporting stuff without actually reporting stuff.
That's exactly right.
It's like the Lakers are circling in, so if he doesn't end up being the coach, you're kind of good. You're not saying that he's the next head coach. You're kind of just like, if he ends up being the head coach, I was right. If not, I didn't actually report it.
Listen to the language of the last 2 days. So Shams reported that it would be J.J. Redick. But the language in the tweet is the Los Angeles Lakers are zeroing in.
I love a good zeroing
on
in.
J.J. Redick as the front runner for the franchise's next head coach. So
Kinda
not
like,
just they haven't agreed to anything, they're zeroing in on it, but zeroing in as the front runner. So not even zeroing in on hiring him. And then Woj today, breaking, the Los Angeles Lakers are targeting Connecticut's Dan Hurley to become the franchise's next head coach and are preparing a massive long-term contract. So no, they haven't offered it. No, they haven't even finished the contract. They're preparing to offer it. And yet these are all posed as breaking news. This isn't the breaking news yet. Tell me when someone's been hired. Tell me when someone's actually had a contract
I
offered.
understand.
It's like saying Iowa's targeting Nick Saban to be the next head coach, all right? We're just making shit up here.
Right, and who isn't?
Yeah, I'm
right.
targeting Chris Evans to be my boyfriend. We're just talking.
Yeah. What was the first term used? The one
zeroing in.
Which one do you guys like the best? Honing in, zeroing in, or targeting?
When I picture zeroing in, I picture me at the Benihana looking at the chicken and shrimp. I'm zeroing in on it. I haven't ordered it yet,
right?
But it's what I'm zeroing in on.
Okay.
In order, it's targeting. You're targeting. You're looking at the area.
Yeah.
Then you start to hone in on the area, and then you see everything that's in your way, and then you zero in on that final topic.
I like a honing in. I do. Greg, what do you like? I mean, there is a journalist who's here. Greg, what do you like in terms of terms?
I like a targeting. Targeting is because you picture a bullseye.
Right.
They're targeting. They get a bow and arrow. They're about to shoot an arrow right into the bullseye.
Right.
Preparing a massive offer. I hate the fact that they call it breaking news, though. Okay, it's what it is. It's sort of breaking speculation. It's not breaking news.
More of a crack.
Doesn't have the same ring to it, though.
I know breaking speculation is like a weird phrase,
right?
But that would be more accurate than breaking news, because they're not even saying they have made a massive offer to Hurley. Preparing could mean anything. Preparing means they're thinking about it,
right?
Basically.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it is coming from the best NBA reporter in the business, Woj. But you're right. Like, if you think Hurley's going to be the next head coach, come out and say it.
Yeah. There's a real art to breaking news that isn't really breaking news. And on the Herald staff, Barry Jackson is a great reporter. Like, he probably breaks more news than anybody on our staff. But even he uses that careful language when he's reporting something that isn't finalized.
Ass covering.
But it's sort of targeting, just words like that. Targeting, preparing, zeroing in on. It's an art of journalism is to pretend, say that you're breaking news when you're really not.
You have that target, the bullseye, on Dan Hurley's back, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Or right on his chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Rob Pelinka and LeBron James and, the Buss family, they're all shooting at that target. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And J.J. Redick is off to the side getting the collateral shrapnel, I think.
When I see that Dan Hurley report, I think I go through the John Gruden prism of it's just his agent trying to get him more money. I mean, not that Woj... I feel like the agent might just leak it. I don't know. It's just I don't trust anything is what I'm really trying to say.
I will say this, that Dan Hurley has talked about wanting to be an NBA coach for a while now. He's done all you could do at UConn. They won back-to-back national championships. He has the best program in America right now. So he's talked about being an NBA coach. Your first job being the Lakers coach, That's a pretty damn good job. There's also a trend here where college coaches were the stars of college sports, and you're seeing a bunch of them leave. They're going to the NBA because they don't like what college sports has become. You saw Coach K walk away from it. Nick Saban walk away from it. You've had others walk away from it. Jim Harbaugh left college, went back to the NFL, and now you have a guy who's in the perfect position. Back-to-back championships with a great recruiting class coming in and tons of money. And he's like, Bronny James.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy what's happening in college sports.
It's been more work than ever to be a college coach. I do disagree with one thing that you said. Coach K didn't step away. He just lost the title and hung around.
Okay.
He's still the head coach of Duke. You just don't. You're not like.
He hasn't
he's not
taken
there
one step away from that place?
He's got an office there still.
All
Like,
right, put
he's
it on the
still-
poll. Has Coach K even taken one step away from the Duke job?
Yeah.
Just one step.
Nope.
Well, the one step, seemingly, is, according to a bunch of different sources, and the article in The Athletic with Shams, is helping the Lakers decide who their next head coach would be. And everybody thought when that was initially sort of put out there that would automatically mean J.J. Redick, his former player. But it looks like now, if Dan Hurley actually ends up being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, that it's Bobby Hurley's brother, Dan Hurley, Bobby Hurley, who played for Coach K, who now ends up getting that inside track. So one way or another, Coach K's influence is felt with the Lakers and clearly with the Duke program, too.
I'm imagining Coach K's phone ringing. He's like, it's LeBron. He's like, honey, it's LeBron. We're getting back into coaching. Hey, what's up, LeBron? Hey. Oh, Lakers job. Honey, I was right. Lakers job. Yeah, you want me to help? Well, you want me to help find the coach. Oh, I thought, honey, cancel the plans. I'm gonna help LeBron find the Lakers coach.
That was amazing acting by you. I'm proud of
That
you.
was pretty good. That's not bad. Especially the gesture with the phone here, the classic phone gesture.
And,
we all
and
do
the
that?
look away, too.
We all do
But
that,
honey,
right? Don't we all do that mid-conversation? Talk to our honey, this is who I'm talking to.
Yeah, you
Do you
pretend
guys want
to.
hear
Yeah.
something crazy?
Honey.
This generation, they don't do the phone like the thumb up pinky. They just do a flat hand because they're
Really?
not, yeah,
Oh,
they're
like
not
speaker?
used to like this type of phone. So if they're like pretending to be on the phone, they'll be like,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
that isn't
Totally
that insane?
Really?
That is
Yeah,
insane.
saw it on
course.
TikTok.
Man, the game is changing.
Everything is
So
changing.
it's
Yeah.
like, hey, what's up? This is totally different.
Yeah.
Really weird.
It's
Right.
weird. It's like you get your hand on your ear. Your
It's
ear
exactly like that.
This is
Yeah,
great
like
for the
Hulk
audio
Hogan, yeah.
audience.
My kids never talk on the phone, though.
they text.
That's it. Social media and texting.
They aren't FaceTimers. I
Not
swear,
really.
only old people like Dan's the only person that FaceTimes me.
Speaking of Dan, he is tracking down this story in L.A. right now.
Yeah, we have him on the case.
We'll see if he has any news for us before the end of the show.
Yeah, special correspondent.
Getting back to his roots.
Yes. Yeah, I wonder who his source is, because if you're breaking news, it's interesting to analyze so-called breaking news and how it emanates, because like somebody like Woj is an agent for agents. And,
Yes.
and I don't even mean that as a criticism.
No.
But chances are very good that his source is an agent of some sort, you know,
I would place that at 100%.
or close to it.
Yes.
You know, back in the day, you would assume that the source was somebody connected with the team, you know, a GM you knew very well or something like that. But that's not the way it operates now. If your best source is Drew Rosenhaus, just to pick an agent's name at random, you're in much better shape than if your source is Chris Greer, the Dolphins GM.
No
'Cause
doubt.
He's not going to tell you anything he doesn't want you to tell you.
Right.
The agent is going to tell you what suits him, you know, which is
What benefits the agent is not what benefits the team.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
And-
You're saying that like it's a good thing, but that doesn't mean you're getting the truth. Like this agent's gonna manipulate you and tell you exactly
when it
what
comes
he
to
wants you to
no,
say.
but Chris, your dad's right. When it comes to the player, though, you're going to get something that's closer to the truth from the agent than the actual team
Yes.
itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the agent's not going to flat out lie. I mean, he's not going to invent an interest in Hurley if there isn't a grain of truth.
It's the one time they tell the truth. I mean, I'm telling you. Greg's right. I mean, are we questioning Greg Cody? He's been doing this forever.
all the times John
Kind of
Gruden's
McDavid,
agent
I mean.
said that he was in the running for this job to get him more money from Monday Night Football, that agent was lying.
Right.
That agent was just trying to get him a raise. Like if this is like,
What is Dan Hurley making at UConn? Do we know? It's got to be somewhere, in the neighborhood of $10 million a year. Now, I know this offer, what they're preparing, people are speculating it's going to be north of $100 million. But again, if you're Dan Hurley, you've won back-to-back championships. The job is the Lakers' job. This isn't the T-Wolves or Oklahoma City. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. And if it doesn't work out, Dan Hurley could go back and pick any college job he wants.
Right.
As of January 24, Hurley earns annual salary of $5.3 million, a substantial jump from his previous salary of $2.9 back in 2018.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't trust anyone.
It is the public posturing that's different, right? Because we watch all of this stuff play out in public in a way that we didn't used to, right? When it was just breaking news in a newspaper, there weren't going to be articles about a team potentially zeroing in on this person. But now the way to generate not only revenue, but to do your job is to sort of follow the drama all the way along, whether that's the trade deadline, whether that's a player requesting out before free agency, whether that's a player in free agency, and now the coaching cycle as well, particularly when you're talking about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers and names like as sexy as LeBron or JJ Redick, where people know who they are. You want to see the drama play out. And so it doesn't even matter whether or not any of these reports are true, whether they're coming from agents, as long as you have the saga playing out in front of us, that's what matters. And you want to be first on breaking the news. But ultimately, so long as you're the first to break one angle of the story, that's kind of all that seems to matter to these publications.
Man, LeBron is playing us like a fiddle right now. We got game 1 tonight, and we are sitting here just like, oh, who's going to be LeBron's next coach? We're dumb.
Who was that? What are you doing there?
That's us.
That's us? You're imitating us?
Oh, yes.
You could have just spoken in your normal voice, though.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it doesn't work. I mean, you're right. You had to do it that way. It's a good job.
Do you guys think JJ Redick's upset?
I think, well, I heard Brian Windhorst say, and I think he's as connected to this particular story as anyone because he knows this group so well. I heard him say that perhaps there's another job inside the Lakers organization for J.J. Redick.
But I don't want another job. I want the head coaching job. If I'm leaving my cushy job as media and podcasting and doing stuff with LeBron.
But maybe this is a job
like,
where J.J. doesn't have to leave that stuff.
An analyst.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had a job where you're already getting another job, but you still have like those 2 weeks at the old job, and you're like, I'm getting another job. I don't really care what's going on here. Let's just hang out. Oh, that you're upset by what I do. Okay, no biggie. Whatever. I'm out of here anyway. I feel like JJ was like on that path of like the podcast. I'll do it when I get to it. No biggie. Whatever. And now that Dan Hurley's going to be the coach, he's like, damn. Okay, let me schedule another podcast. Let me call LeBron, see what's up.
I think Dan Hurley was just on their podcast.
Yeah, I think he was, actually.
I think he was. I think he was on like in the last 2 weeks, and they were talking about what a great offensive mind he has. I mean,
but at the same time, though, if you're J.J. Redick, no matter your confidence level, you're looking at Dan Hurley's resume and you're going, you know what? If I were the Lakers, I'd probably hire him too. At least that's what the truth serum answer would be if you're J.J. Redick.
Why would you not hire Dan Hurley? A guy who actually has coaching experience over J.J. Redick, who has none, who hosts a podcast with LeBron James, and is calling the NBA Finals tonight. I mean,
it's really funny, and you could see we have the tweets, but Dan Hurley was on J.J. Redick's podcast in April. It was April 19th that he was on there, and they had a really, it
was a job interview.
Intense conversation about basketball, the way J.J. Redick does. And J.J. Redick shares, oh, man, I loved this part of our interview. It was so great. And in the replies to that tweet was one King James.
Oh, boy.
Who said, he's so damn good.
There it
Along
is.
with his staff, super creative with their offense. Love it.
Man.
And so it's so funny to see on J.J. Redick's podcast, LeBron flirting with the idea of how much he loves Dan Hurley.
But it would stand to reason that J.J. is in on this. Like, JJ's good not being the head coach. It would stand to reason just based on what we just said, right?
I mean, maybe JJ knows that he's never really been that close, so he's just enjoying
Maybe
all of
JJ
this.
doesn't want to be the head coach.
But he's just kind of enjoying, everyone
of
thinks
course
I'm
he
the
is.
next head coach.
Yes.
This is cool.
Yeah,
It's great for his profile.
It's great for his podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know about that.
Well, I've never been a head coach candidate, but, that kind of thing.
I'm sure you've been close.
You think?
If we're talking coaching experience, right? Like Tyronn Lue didn't have any coaching experience. He got thrown into a bunch of teams with LeBron, won a championship, now signed a massive deal with the Clippers. Like, you don't really. Experience is overrated as being a coach. You could be a mediocre player and still be a decent coach.
Right. It is weird you just being like, oh, Dan Hurley, he's done it. I've seen him do it, so he's definitely like, we don't know what.
No,
JJ's
I'm just saying that people were surprised this morning at Woj's report of Dan Hurley. Yet they weren't surprised when the report was J.J. Redick.
Yeah.
That's
weird.
all I'm saying. I don't mind if it's J.J. Redick. I mean, but Dan Hurley seems to be a better fit.
I'm pretty sure Dan Hurley was at a UFC fight a few weeks ago, or maybe even this last one.
Massive UFC
and he was
fan.
shown on camera, and he was doing the 2, 3, as if he was going to go for a 3-peat at UConn. So
Right. Well,
that's
he's not.
misleading. That 1, 2, 3 is a little misleading. if
And
you're a
that's
Lakers
why the kids are able to transfer whenever the hell they want. I do have a top 5 list of guys who have told their agents to poke around Storrs, Connecticut.
Uh-oh.
He hasn't even accepted the Laker job yet, and yet I have a bunch of agents just flocking around.
yeah.
Flocking around. Jeremy gave me a great idea. The next time a South Florida coaching job comes open, we should throw your name into the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, hey, the Miami Hurricanes are zeroing in on Greg Cody
There you
as their
go.
next
There you go.
women's basketball
Okay,
head coach.
that's going to be a big OLI if I'm on it. That's a massive
You
OLI.
never know. Throw Sam Cassell in there.
Yeah. You have
He's
to.
always in there.
You have to throw a random guy in there. Yeah,
Chris Quinn.
Yes. And Greg Cody.
By the way, let's not discount the possibility that it's Hurley's agent who is putting this out there merely to get a triple salary from UConn.
Maybe.
To go from
Steve Martin
5.3
also, yeah.
to 15 or whatever.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way you leverage. I get it if it was going to be the Orlando Magic or the Cavs or something, but you're talking about the Lakers
Right.
and using that to leverage UConn after you've just won 2 national titles. Like, what's the point of that?
to get more money out of them.
Yeah.
But you can get more money from the Lakers by just going to the
no,
Lakers.
we're saying to get more money out of UConn.
I know.
He's-
But Chris, hold on. The
UConn's
offer
gonna
that's
give you
being
$100 million?
prepared is $100 million. UConn's not giving you that.
Right,
No.
but if he's now making $7 million a year instead of $5.5, like it's just that's
but you
the
could
game
be
here.
making
Okay.
25
Right.
or 30.
Right.
But but UConn in the college realm is the Lakers, you could argue, or at least they have been recently. And if Hurley genuinely prefers coaching college basketball, which some coaches do, then maybe he is just looking for a raise from UConn. I don't discount it as a possibility. That's all.
I think something that we're not acknowledging with UConn is they did win 2 back-to-back national championships, but this will go down as one of the more dominant runs in college basketball history with how good these teams were. So you have this situation where if he comes back, the odds of a three-peat are really, really high, but there's not much else he can achieve because not only have they won 2 national titles,
Right.
they will go down as one of the best college basketball teams runs of the modern era.
No question. This makes perfect sense. If you indeed want to coach in the NBA, you've talked about it, you've expressed your desires to coach in the NBA, and the Lakers job is available with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and it's a $100 million deal, this is the time to take that opportunity. There will never be a better time for Dan Hurley. His stock will never be higher. He'll never be more coveted coming off back-to-back national championships, and it's the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Lakers, Celtics, Knicks, you take the job.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you're right. And the analogy would be if you're a baseball manager and the New York Yankees job comes open, you take it no matter what because they're the New York Yankees.
Correct.
And the Lakers have that aura and mystique and history, and they always will.
A fun kind of hypothetical here is we're just assuming that this is all for LeBron. And, of course, he's making himself the center of attention before the NBA
It's
Finals,
amazing.
blah, blah, blah.
The fact that he could still do this at the age
it's
of
amazing.
39.
We're letting him do it.
But
There's a game
we're
being
doing
played
it.
tonight.
We just
And
did
we're
20
the ones
minutes.
doing it.
We just did 20 minutes on him.
But the hypothetical that's interesting is, well, what if J.J. Redick is LeBron's guy? And what if he was all along? And the way that Woj has positioned this with the zeroing in or wherever we are, in his thread on Twitter, he's talking about not only the tactical advantage that someone like Dan Hurley presents, but also his player development, which doesn't sound like what you want to build around a 40-year-old LeBron James. So
No, he's
what
taking
if,
care of his son.
What
That's
if
what he's
it's
doing.
that,
Yeah.
or if LeBron doesn't intend to stay in Los Angeles and he and J.J. Redick are a package deal, potentially going somewhere else,
Wow.
like Cleveland, that maybe is moving their stars with Clutch Management's own Darius Garland
And
sort of being
Bickerstaff is
floated
out,
there.
right?
And Bickerstaff is out. And
Jeremy,
maybe not
that's
just
played out,
Cleveland.
though. He was going to go back to Cleveland after he already went back to
No,
Cleveland.
but Tony,
To
think
end
about
his
it.
career and bring Bronny with him?
Cleveland's favorite son comes home with his son.
Again?
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, again. He does whatever he wants. Maybe not Cleveland. Maybe anywhere else.
Maybe
but
the Knicks.
idea,
Miami.
The
Now we're
idea,
talking.
well, no,
Everyone
they have a
wants
head
him.
coach.
He's 39,
Yeah, go over there.
and he comes with a kid who we're not certain if he's going to be good in the NBA, and he comes with a coach who's never coached before.
JJ could be Spo's coach in waiting.
I'll take him. I would fire Tom Thibodeau tomorrow.
What you just got done saying JJ might not be a good coach.
I don't care. LeBron's a great player.
And will be forever. Never getting old, that guy.
Chris, why were you yelling at us? By the way, we will break all of this down with Donnie Wahlberg. About 20 minutes. Why were you yelling? I can't speak. Why were you yelling at me and your dad because of agents and lying? Like,
Just because
you did it in our headsets. It was weird. Like,
I mean, it's just because you guys are like, you guys did a thing a couple minutes ago where you're just like, what do you mean? The agent's definitely telling you. And I just feel like if there's anyone in this scenario, GMs, agents, players, like we should be trusting agents the least.
Well, everybody in sports has an ulterior motive.
Right, but you guys decided that the agent is the one that is definitely telling the truth. It's like, no, everyone's lying for their own interest, and
Right.
we need to be skeptical of everyone.
well, Chris, who do you think wants this news out there?
His agent, so he can get more money with UConn or get this job.
Or
if
get
it's
the
a real
job,
thing.
right.
Like,
That's why I think you're closest to the truth in this case. I understand what you're saying, but you're closest to the truth when you go to the agent on this. That's all I'm saying. Again, Donnie Wahlberg.
The one thing we can all agree on is that LeBron James's hands are all over anything that's about to happen.
Yes.
Whether it's the next Lakers coach, whether it's his own career move, whether it involves Bronny, whether it doesn't, LeBron is steering this entire conversation.
Do you guys want my top 5 guys who have already contacted their agents and their agents are already poking around Stores, Connecticut?
Absolutely.
Sure, why not?
Oh, well, I have one. Not Greg Popovich. Want to be a D3 coach. Hell out of here. Number 5, J.J. Redick. Maybe. Number 4, Bobby Hurley. Number 3, he's just taking a poke around. He's great on TV. He looks a million years younger than he did when he was coaching. Jay Wright. Has to be.
He looks so
Interesting.
good.
Interesting.
Number 2. Now, we'll have to wait, because he can't go out during the daylight hours. But I promise you, his agent knows what to do when the UConn job comes open. Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
Hop, skip, and a jump from the Johnnies.
And number 1. I don't care that he hasn't coached the game at Arkansas. I don't care. I do not care. And if you think he cares, you don't know him. He will leave that job without coaching a game. He will take all of their money, and he will be the next head coach at UConn. And that, of course, is John Calipari.
Good list. It's a good list.
Thank you.
Good list.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, good list.
Appreciate it.
No notes.
We'll talk about it with Donnie Wahlberg.
that's right. It's Thursday Thunder, and it's sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Thursday Thunder, cooked up by Juju, brought to you by Tony.
Guys, we have an all green Thursday Thunder.
Wow.
All green. We've got the NBA Finals tonight, Game 1. Mavericks at Celtics. Juju, notable, massive Celtics fan, has cooked up the parlay for Thursday Thunder. We're starting with the first leg. Jason Tatum. Over 9.5 rebounds for Jason Tatum. Interesting.
It is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Over 9.5 rebounds.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Al Horford, over 4.5 rebounds.
Lock.
Big rebounding night for the Celtics.
A lot of missed shots. Apparently.
Tatum has had over 9 rebounds in 6 of his last 7.
So something to keep an eye on.
Ooh.
Last leg here, Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. Thank you.
Needed Thunder.
I was waiting for the Thunder, yeah.
Right.
So that's Jason Tatum over 9.5 rebounds. Al Horford over 4.5 rebounds.
Ow, what?
Jaylen Horford. Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. That gives you a nice plus 500 for Thursday Thunder. Book it.
Really cranked up the Thunder there. I mean,
Book it. Kind of sounds like a lion's roar a little bit too.
Pride of the Lion.
Out now,
Hey,
Father's Day.
Well done. Promoted. It's been promoted.
Yeah.
Game 1 of the finals is tonight. Carter Verhaeghe going to join us coming up. The Stanley Cup finals get underway on Saturday. I think the Celtics, man, I don't know what we're doing with this team. Dallas has had a nice run. Luka and Kyrie have been great. This is not Luka at 100%, but the Celtics have been the entire season a historically good team, a great team. And offensively, I think they have too much for Dallas to handle. But here's where I think they win the series. I do. Because Luka is so good. And he's thick. And he's tall. He's like 6'7", 6'8", Luka. And he has amazing ball handling skills. And he can get any shot off. But here's what the Celtics have. And it's why I think it bodes well for them in the series. And I don't think it will be much of a series. I think the Celtics will either sweep or they'll win in 5 games. Little gentleman's sweep. They have so many guys they can run at Luka Doncic, whether it's Tatum, whether it's Brown, whether it's White, whether it's Drew Holiday. There are a lot of guys that they can throw at Luka, Greg, and for that reason, they're great offensively. But defensively, they have 4 guys who can match him in terms of height, not skill, but in terms of length. And I think that's why the Celtics win this series and win it rather easily.
I agree. I think Dallas is one of the most underqualified finals teams in a while.
That's crazy.
No, I do.
Two of the more skilled players in NBA history.
Luka Doncic is a great player.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving, although past his prime, is also still a great player, as he's shown lately. But when you look at the and I try not to be a slave to statistics, but Dallas only outscored its opponents by 2 points this season. That's unimpressive because I think plus-minus is pretty significant over the course of a full season.
Over 82 games.
Yeah, and +2 is nothing. Now their offense is middle-of-the-pack offense. Their defense isn't as good as Boston's. The Celtics have been the best team in the NBA all season. They can score 3-point baskets like nobody. And I just think it has the potential to be a rout, like Stugotz says. A sweep would not surprise me. A 5-game series, to me, is almost the betting favorite.
I would be surprised if this wasn't at least a somewhat competitive series with the way that Dallas has played, particularly in the second half of the year since the trade deadline. Yeah. They added P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford at the deadline, and those are 2 guys in their top 6 in minutes. It's their starting center. It's their starting power forward. And the length of P.J. Washington and Derek Jones Jr. was really on display last series for them defensively. Derek Jones Jr., he did learn that defensive stuff from the Heat culture right at the beginning. But when you talk about Boston, Drew Holiday and Derek White, those are 2 elite defenders. Those are 2 guys who have played defense at the top of their game in the last couple of years. They've been named first and second team all defense. That said, they're really more there to stop Kyrie Irving because Luka Doncic physically is too big for both of those guys to really slow him down. It will come down to both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown on that defensive end. The big X factor that we haven't mentioned is Boston has run through the Eastern Conference, and we've given them a lot of slack for going up against those teams without their number ones, but they have been without their starting center in Kristaps Porzingis, who is a huge X factor in this series, because without him, I think they would have huge issues defending Kyrie and Luka in the pick and roll. We saw how great they were in the pick and roll against Minnesota, who had the best defense in the NBA all year. If they would have been going after Al Horford and Al Horford alone at that big man position for Boston, they could have really taken advantage. Now, with Kristaps Porzingis back, that's a huge difference for that Boston defense, and that's the biggest factor here, in my opinion. Tony, I know you have kind of a strong opinion about this series as well, but when you look at these 2 teams, kind of what are you seeing?
I think the biggest deal with the Celtics, too, is their lack of front court players, right? I think that when you talk about Porzingis, he's already said he's not at 100%. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that, who's behind Porzingis?
It's Horford.
It's Horford.
It's a Hall of Famer.
And after that, it's not much.
It's not much, right? When you've got 2 bigs, 3 bigs realistically with Dallas that can not stretch the floor, but stretch the paint in a way where the pick and rolls become more effective when Luke and Kyrie can drive. That to me is the X factor of the game, the front court players on Dallas's side.
Getting Porzingis back was important for Boston, but getting Derek Lively back in that game 5 and that neck injury not being more of an issue is gigantic. I believe he shot 100% in the Western Conference Finals. He's been spectacular as a rookie. And man, our hot takes are really setting off.
They're trying to
Is
stop
there
us
a
from
fire
preaching.
here at the
Yeah,
Elser Hotel? What is happening? I mean,
We get these kind of alerts
daily
where it sounds like it's a big emergency that
Right.
we're so it's like
not.
the boy that cried wolf. Like if something bad happens here, we're not going to react to it because we're so used to this.
I tried really hard to fight through, but this eventually the vocals start to come in.
I understand, right?
Yeah, I wonder what was going on.
Greg
he
saying
just said, please cease operations.
Greg saying,
What kind of operations?
I'm continuing operations. Greg saying that they're the worst team to make it to the NBA Finals. I wouldn't go that far, but they're one of them. Like, I wouldn't go that far. Like the Cavaliers with Mo Williams, the Philadelphia 76ers with Iverson. Eric Snow was the second best player on that team.
Guys.
He averaged 6 points a game. I
Guys,
mean,
I love the Heat as much as anyone. Gabe Vincent and Max Strus were starting in
Last
the NBA
year.
Finals
Yeah.
last
Correct.
year.
Yeah.
okay.
Like they were starting last year. They were a 5 seed a couple years before that, and also made the NBA.
I would take the
Finals.
Dallas team from this year over the Heat team from last year.
Yeah, that's fair. I
No,
mean,
that's
that's
fair.
fair.
That's fair.
That's
I didn't
entirely
say they were,
fair.
I didn't say they were the worst team ever in the finals.
One of them.
What I said was they are underqualified compared to most finals teams.
But when you're a 5 seed that upset the Clippers first, then Denver, and now Minnesota, it shows you just exactly what it is that this group can do with their length on the defensive end and 2 incredible offensive players. I think this should be a relatively even series. You guys mentioned the outscoring. It might be one of those things where Dallas could end up winning the series, but being outscored, where Boston blows them out a couple of times, but they win close late because Luka and Kyrie are tremendous in the fourth quarter. And what's the one question we keep asking? Whether or not Jason Tatum can close things out down the stretch.
The
for
alarm
Boston.
is still
the
going.
question I'm asking is, should we cease operations?
Yeah, let's do
I mean,
that.
Probably.
Carter, you got us?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Oh,
Carter,
the interview just started. I just want to start this by saying I love you and thank you.
what are you doing?
I'm a three-year season ticket holder,
Right?
and he's changed my life, and I just want to say thank you.
It's
to
true.
him.
Thank you.
What happened to you?
Take it away. That's just what I wanted to do.
I want to take it away by chanting Carter, 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 Carter.
Bring it home, Carter.
All right. I love it.
Carter, I know you were there a season ago, but can you kind of put us inside your head right now? You're about 48 hours away from playing in the Stanley Cup again for a second consecutive year. What's the feeling right now for you and this team?
Yeah, I think it's a lot different this year. I think last year we were kind of just enjoying the moment. I think no one really expected us to be so good last year and get to the final. And I think this year it's kind of we have a game plan. We're more focused. Everyone, it's kind of more business-like this year, I think, which is great.
You're coming from against a team that has very good transition offense and an excellent power play in the Rangers to a team with an excellent transition offense and a elite power play. What have you learned from the Eastern Conference Final that you can take into the Stanley Cup Final?
Yeah, you're right. They're really similar in that way. They create lots off the rush. They have a ton of speed, and I think discipline obviously is going to be huge, just like it was last series and throughout our whole playoffs. I think discipline has been a big part of what we're doing compared to last year. We were kind of menaces all over the place, getting in scrums, and I think this year we're kind of staying out of that and trying to focus on what we can do. And yeah, it's going to be special teams is going to be huge, staying out of the box, and we have a great PK as well. And we're hoping just keep the penalties to a minimum and play 5-on-5. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Carter, you guys did not touch the Prince of Wales trophy. Is this a superstitious team, or were you told not to do that?
You didn't see
by
the
Paul
clip?
Maurice?
Maurice was like, don't bleep and touch that thing.
I know, but how does that start? Is he a superstitious? Is everybody superstitious in hockey? I don't know the genesis.
Yeah, some guys are superstitious. I mean, to be honest, personally, it doesn't really matter to me, but I think, well, let's do the opposite of what we did last year. Obviously, it didn't work last year, so I think that was kind of the mindset going in.
Carter, what's the plan for this 7 and change flight to Edmonton? Because I might be making it, and I am not looking forward to it. I'm sure yours will be nicer.
The plan is a
than
private
mine.
jet. That's
No,
what
I know, but I'm just saying, what are we thinking?
Chartered.
Are we thinking, like, on this plane, like, if Barkov's behind me, like, are we reclining the chair? We got 7 hours here. If we're going to New York, we're not really reclining the chair, but are we reclining on this one?
Oh, we're always reclining. There's lots of room on the
That's
plane.
right.
But
Once again, private.
yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
Always reclining, but yeah, I mean it's going to be a long flight, but I think maybe get some catch up on some sleep. Usually after games, it's pretty tough to sleep, and play some poker with the boys. Maybe have some fun. Take some guys' money.
Who's the fish? Who's the fish in the group that we get all the money from?
I'll go Ekblad.
Yeah.
He doesn't care enough.
He's got that payday, too.
Yeah, he can afford it.
Yeah.
The Oilers said that they know about the team's physicality and they say that they are ready for it. So are you expecting a player like a Evander Kane or a Darnell Nurse to come in and try to establish their physicality?
Yeah, probably. I think that's part of their game. I think we're just going to try and play to kind of our identity and what we do. And some guys are physical. Sometimes it's quick pace. And I think, yeah, definitely they have a lot of physical guys. I think both those guys obviously are bigger guys and like to lay their body, and that's part of their game. But I think we kind of expect that. And it's not really a battle of physicality for us. I think it's we're playing to win, whether it's physicality or anything else, special teams or just anything like that. But yeah, obviously those two are really physical players.
Carter, despite being sort of a betting favorite all season long, there were lots of folks in the media before the year started that kind of thought what you guys did last year was a bit of a fluke, getting there from the 8th seed, and were picking you guys in some cases to not even make the playoffs. But to a man, all of you were saying, we expect to be back. How did that sort of mentality going into the season, hearing some of that noise, help propel you guys throughout this long season to now be ready come the postseason?
Yeah, obviously, it's kind of crazy, actually. I think anytime a team can go to the Cup final, it's not really a fluke. You have to beat 3 really good teams to get there. So obviously, it definitely motivated us, but we really don't really pay too much attention to that. I think I think as a group, we do a really good job of just sticking to what we do best in our game, and we know how good we are, and we're confident in that. And it doesn't really matter what other people think, because there's always going to be talk, who's better or whatever like that. And I think just kind of sticking with what we do and kind of humble confidence kind of thing.
Playoff beards are huge. I got mine going right now. Who's got the saddest
Do
playoff?
you think you're on the team?
I'm part of the group. Don't do this to me,
Okay,
Stugotz. I'm having a
No,
moment.
Stugotz.
He's paying money over
My
there.
Besides
apologies.
mine, who's
My
got the
apologies.
saddest playoff beard on the team?
The saddest, that's tough. The Finns don't usually
Yeah.
grow too much facial hair, and I'd have to give it to Lundy. He's been growing it for probably half the year. He started early too.
I have not noticed.
Carter, come on, half a year?
I mean, he's 12 years old. I mean, this guy, Lundell.
Yeah, that's tough one.
Carter, who's the funniest guy on your team?
Probably Nick Cousins.
Who's the guy who thinks he's the funniest person on the team?
Who thinks he's the funniest? Probably Chucky, but he's still funny. Chucky's funny too.
He laughs at all his own jokes.
Yeah, he likes his own jokes. That's for sure.
Now Barkey's got like this odd, like soft-spoken kind of delivery when
Dry.
he talks. Like
Dry.
I feel like, does Barkey ever just like start like cussing like a sailor, and it's just funny because of like how soft-spoken he is?
No, he never really cusses but his comments are like all the time. Like when, sometimes someone will ice the puck, and then he'll turn his stick over like he doesn't have a stick. Like might as well not have a stick. Like just like humble things, just kind of dry sense of humor like that, which is absolutely hilarious coming from him too, because he's so soft spoken.
Carter Bobrovsky, in the media, we can't get more than 2 words out of this guy. He's so reticent after a game, win or lose.
He's focused.
He could play the best game anyone's ever played in goal, and he would be, not give you a good quote, to put it bluntly. Is he like that with the team? Like, is he super quiet even with you guys, or does he show a side that we don't know?
I think I. It's tough with Bob. He's such a humble guy, and I think he really cares about people as people, kind of thing. You know what I mean? He's not really he doesn't get his head too big or too small. He just treats everyone kind of equally, whether like you're not playing or you're a star on the team. He doesn't really care. I think that's kind of who he is. He kind of just treats everyone humbly, like everyone's equal, like a person. You know what I mean? Which is something I love about Bob. That might be something to it.
We don't talk enough about you guys off the ice, and Jonah Gadjevich has received a game puck, and he wasn't even playing because he just recently became a father. Why don't you talk about how tight knit of a group this team is?
Yeah, this team is so tight. I mean, everyone loves each other in the room. There's pranks going on, games going on, and I mean, it's an awesome time playing for our team. And yeah, I mean, like to do something special, it doesn't take 3 guys or 1 guy or 5 guys. I mean, it takes a whole team. Everyone's here every day. Everyone wants to pull in the rope, whether you get contributions in practice or like there's so many more things to it than just the product that people see on the ice. And I think Gage has been awesome all year. He's been in and out of the lineup, and I mean, for him to, I mean, be with the team when he just had obviously a birth of his kids. I mean, it's awesome, and we're all so happy for him. And yeah, it just feels more like a family kind of thing.
You said all that, and all I heard was the word prank. What was the best prank this year? What's the best thing that happened inside that dressing room?
Oh, I gotta.
There's so many.
You're editing yourself. I like it.
They seem to always revolve around the same couple people. It's always Cuzzy, Monty, and Chucky. They're always
of course.
Something always happens to one of them. I think the other day, I think Cuzzy, I guess someone took when we get to the rink, we get changed into our clothes, like our Panthers gear and stuff. And someone took his clothes and moved his car and put his clothes, like drove his car to a different parking lot with his clothes in it.
Oh my God.
It was over at Ed Moore's.
Yeah.
That's great.
Usually, sometimes in between rounds, we're getting bored, so guys are.
Log
guys
weight.
are yeah.
Carter, my name is Chris Cody. Can you give me a cool hockey nickname?
Oh, that's a tough one. Codes, maybe?
I like it.
Coach. Yeah.
Chrissy? No.
Nope.
Codes. He gave you one.
All right, he did. I got it.
Codes, yeah.
Carter, you're from Canada. You're playing Edmonton, and we've been talking about this all week. Like, how does this work in Canada? I must think that Canada is frustrated that Florida owns hockey, okay? Because we do. Between you and Tampa, we own hockey, and it has to frustrate Canadian fans because we're new to hockey. But how does it work in Canada? Do all the different cities get together and root against the Panthers? How does that work?
No, I don't think so. I think there's so many rivalries in Canada as well that I think probably Calgary fans don't want to see Edmonton winning. You know, I don't know exactly how it works, but I couldn't imagine Tampa fans wanting us to win. You know,
Right.
like yeah, I don't know.
I know, but Canadians as a country, they feel like hockey is their game, right? And so it must drive them crazy that a team playing in Sunrise, Florida, and another team playing in Tampa, Florida, own hockey. That has to be frustrating to Canada, right?
Yeah, for sure. I could imagine. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
They probably want the cup back in Canada for sure. I mean, I could only imagine they're pretty diehard fans.
When you win it, you can bring it back there, okay? I mean, how about that?
Talk about Gustav Forsling's play so far. To me, it seems like he could very well be in line for the Conn Smythe Trophy. And Vladimir Tarasenko, I noticed during the last series how great he was defensively, and he finally got a goal in Game 6. Talk about those two playing.
Yeah, obviously, starting with Gustav, he's been unbelievable all year, too. I think he's finally getting some of the credit he deserves. I think a lot of the time, last couple of years, he kind of just flew under the radar. No one really kind of respected him. And I mean, he's such a good skater, so good defensively, offensively. He does it all for a team. The penalty kill. I think he could play on the power play, but he doesn't even play power play because we need him for all the other aspects of the game. You know what I mean? And he's been such a horse, and he's such a great player. And Vladdy's been awesome too. I mean, like that's the thing about our team. Like we feel like such a team that when one guy's not going one night, someone else will. Everyone's kind of pulling the rope, and Vladdy's been unbelievable. He scores big goals, a huge one in Boston, and I mean, blocking shots. I mean, it feels like everyone's just pulling the rope in the same direction.
Codes here. I just want to let you know that we're gonna have that barn rocking for you guys on Saturday. Yeah! Let's go, man.
Carter, you bring that cup home to its rightful place. Sunrise, Florida. Let's go!
All right, Carter, I love you.
Carter, good luck to you, man. We appreciate the time. It's been a fun run, and hopefully it continues with you guys and finishes with you guys hoisting the cup. That would be great.
No
man.
response for me.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, thank you, Carter.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.